Hello, my name is Lauro Cohen. I'm a designer, researcher, and I'm here to present the work entitled New Demands on Materials Design Education, Waste Recovery and Coletivo Art, written on the guidance of Professor Nubia Santos. One of the contemporary challenges for research and practice in designing and materials is the ability to associate technical information on properties and processing of materials with creative activities and applications in design. Currently, there is a return to artisanal practice and process, in which there is a continual dialogue between the designer, the material, and the project. The act of designing involves the understanding the sensory qualities and technical constraints of a material, the process that can be achieved through manual and exploratory manipulation. In this context, the study demonstrates the relevance of practice-oriented design process in the construction of knowledge. In an experience facilitated through post-consumer paper recycling workshops with students from the Bachelor of Design course at the State University of Pará in Brazil, ways to produce recycled paper tiles were investigated and the effects of this activity were discussed. The context of the activity is based on theoretical studies in materials and design, with methodological approach focused on the practical experiments in a research and teaching scenario. The research of this work is classified as exploratory. The methodology adopted is based on the experimental method, considering the tests of new composition and the response of materials to the process. The workshop was divided in two acts. At first, a theoretical meeting was held, where students had contact with theoretical studies on sustainability and paper recycling. Then, in a practical moment, studies had the opportunity to experience recycling of paper for the production of tiles. The recycling process consists of preparing post-consumer paper waste, producing cellulose pulp, and making paper tiles for the subsequent painting. The tile alternative was inspired by the architecture of Belém, capital of the state of Pará in Brazil, bringing effective memories and a reinterpretation for their studies. In the methodological approach, the residue has its sensory and physical characteristics experienced after paper shredding. The homogeneity of the pulp is crucial for a good surface finishing after drying. In the pulping mode step, after tests and research in the literature, silicon was selected as the most suitable material for mold. Also, the possibility to form reliefs on the tile surface. One of the main difficulties during this process was the inability to control the drying of the material and the high humidity in the air. As drying is done at room temperature, the difference throughout they made some pieces look different for each other. Within the artisanal process, this was explored to ensure a formal individuality to each title. During the workshop, each participant had the opportunity to interact with the material, from which the sensory analyses are verbalized and discussed in the group, looking for alternatives for applications. What was interesting alternative to teaching practice and materials education, focus on technical information that often cannot be experienced by students due to the distance from reality in the education environment and performance professional. In the course of the creation of the tiles, the participants expressed their feelings, reference, and interests through painting. Although the final results present some similar drawing, they were different in colors, reference to the city, and to students' daily life. Each piece had a special and unique meaning. Different colors and textures worked during the activity give the artifacts the characteristics of those who manipulate it. Here we have some photos of the titles and some preliminary experiments on how they would behave together. Imagine the composition in panels and environments. This is a very common type of application for tiles, and the possibility of applying the pieces together was a demand raised during the socialization with the students. It is interesting to note that even with a great difference in colors and certain disconstruction of the pieces, diversity was interesting point that could be explored in the project. The activity provides a network of contacts and meetings in which students had the opportunity to reflect on waste disposal. One of the contributions to education materials design is the possibility of dealing with awareness and critical concepts. Participants share their experiences and stories related to the theme present, as well as perspectives on sustainability. The workshop enabled the construction of new meetings and experience with the productions of products through the playful aspects of handcrafting, in addition to exemplify the need to involve the understanding of sensory qualities in the design process. At the end of the activity, pieces with potential for indoor environments were obtained and the permanent art installation was designed at the State University of Pará. Through contemplation, the audience used touch to interact with the pieces, enhance the aesthetics, and investigate the individuality of paper tiles. The diversity of colors had a great impact on the environment, highlighting the panel and the information on it. The art installation transformed the space into a reference point, a place for meeting and interaction. A very interesting effect was the excessive sharing on social media. Students, visitors, and university professionals started to share videos and images on social medias such as Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, covering the material experience for the immaterial medium as well. The use of space as background for videos and images had become very common as well. Another very interesting result that came about as the activity progressed was the possibility of giving the workshop in other states in Brazil, most of them at design events. It was important and positive to share the experience with other researchers in the area and observe other perspectives on the activity. In addition, there was a very positive repercussion in the media. Students were invited to interviews and participated in newspaper reports. Here in the presentation, uh, we had a link that directs you to our related article in the Brazilian media. Well, thank you very much for your attention. Here we have some contacts for questions and partnership. Thank you very much.